If you're excited for the second weekend of the Battlefield 6 beta, then you're in the exact same boat as me. And this video is going to be a ramble style video. It won't be too long at all because I want to get straight to the point here and cover the points that I do want to cover and ultimately give you the question or give you the answer of whether or not you should pre-order Battlefield 6, because we all know when it comes to Battlefield pre-orders, a lot of people in the community do not want to pre-order this game. And as much as I've not played Battlefield since basically Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and that's my history on this game, and I want to go over the good points first because I feel like there's more good points than bad for this game, and more people might not say that's the case, but for me, I actually think this game is going to be really good. First of all, the game was pretty polished, right? For a beta, it's actually not too bad, especially in today's standards of other betas not being as polished as this one. I think the Battlefield 6 beta was pretty polished, and we got a good feel of what the game was going to be like. Then when it comes to gunplay in this game is phenomenal. It feels so good, the sound effects are so good, even the footstep audio and all that kind of stuff, and the audio in general in this game is really good. But I do want to mention that the gunplay just feels amazing. The guns feel good to fire, shoot, the recoil, all of it. I know it is a little bit higher on the recoiled side, and they do have weapon bloom in Battlefield, but they've always had that. And me personally, I don't think weapon bloom should be in a game like this, but regardless, that is Battlefield. I don't want to change that aspect of the game. But in general, the guns feel super good to fire, and there's going to be a lot of variety of weapons as well. I've seen some leaks of all the guns. I think there's like 44 or 66. I can't remember the exact number of how many guns are going to be in this game. And some of them are going to be DLC, I'm assuming, as well. But there's tons, right? There's going to be loads, including guns like the MP5. The MP7 is already in the beta. There's tons of guns coming, and that is what I'm really excited about as well. We need the content there, especially at launch, man. I think we need a lot of content. We've got maps that we already know about. Obviously, creators got to play those. So there is the content there, which is obviously the super and probably the number one most important thing after the gameplay aspect of this game. Then we have the class system, and the class system, in my opinion, is perfect this time round. I like the fact that we can get the open class when you can use all the weapons. You can get the closed class where you can do it more traditional Battlefield style, and I think both of those options are great. It works really well. Obviously, we got more access to the open class system within the beta at the moment, and that worked perfectly fine. And I like the way they've done the new class system. No specialists or anything like that. It's just straight up Battlefield stuff, and you can just use the guns on classes you want to use them on, but you do get some kind of con for not using it on the correct class, which I think is the better way to do it. I think they've just done this perfectly well. They've balanced the class system really, really well for Battlefield 6, in my opinion. Then when it comes to vehicle play, I do want to touch on this as well. The vehicle play was really good. I don't play too much vehicles in Battlefield, and I know a lot of people do enjoy playing on the fighter jets, the helicopters, the tanks, whatever, and they kind of main a vehicle and they drive around with that. But that's not me. That's not our play style. I like infantry combat. That's just the way I like it. People have their preference. But on the vehicles that I did play and the chance that I did get to play on them, they felt smooth, man. It felt really good. And all the feedback on the vehicles and people that do literally have full channels dedicated to using vehicle combat enjoyed it as well, and that's really good feedback, especially going into the battle royale as well, which I do want to touch on, because this battle royale needs to be good to compete with Warzone, not for just Battlefield to be good, but also for Warzone to get better as well. And as you know, a lot of the content on this channel is based around Warzone, but that is not what this video is about. The vehicle play needs to be good, right? Because if you know, this is going to be kind of similar to Warzone. And the vehicle play in Warzone 1 was really good, then it went trash and no one enjoyed the Battle Royale, and then now it's better. But Battlefield has the potential to do better than that. And the movement as well, I do want to touch on, especially for like end game circles and things like that. The movement is smooth in this game. There's some hiccups here and there with the jumping and stuff. I think that can be ironed out over time a little bit. But for the most part, I do like the fact that you can slide. I do like the fact that you can kind of slide and hip fire if you're a engineer. And there's a lot of kind of small kind of movement tech to this game. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward, running around, shooting, which is always a good thing. But the gunplay is perfect for that. And obviously that's what makes it good for kind of end game circles and how they want to play out their battle royale. And we'll need to see how that works out later on down the line. But for the most part, vehicle play, gunplay, like I mentioned, really, really good. The battle royale, hopefully, is really good as well to take out that kind of free-to-play aspect for this game, but there needs to be a reason to purchase the main game, and I think that is what Portal is going to be for this. Now, obviously, this has nothing to do with the beta, as we've just discussed everything regarding the beta, but I do want to touch on these couple of things because people want private servers, people want the Portal mode to be really good, and I think the Portal mode is what's going to make this game better than COD if they want to do that, because having that customization in a first-person shooter has never been done before, especially at the scale that it looks like it's supposed to be in Battlefield. So hopefully that customization is there to have crazy game modes, and they've got vehicle combat, and they've got so much going in this game that we can do, and that open world feel, and the maps are huge as well, and we're expecting even bigger maps than obviously what we've seen in the beta, which are not so big. Getting into the negatives now, and I don't think there's many of them if I'm being perfectly honest. We do need those private servers. I think that's going to be amazing for the Battlefield community. Now, if you're coming from other games, you probably don't care too much about this, but the Battlefield community do like to kind of fine-tune what kind of elements of the game they want to play, and that is where the private servers come in, and people don't mind paying for them. That's the community sentiment so far. So if that's the case, then they should just add that into the game. I feel like it's a pretty easy thing to add in, hopefully, and just make sure that it doesn't kind of bleed in with the Portal mode. Other than that, fix the shotguns, man. That needs fixed like ASAP. The shotguns are crazy broken, and hopefully they fix that between now and the second weekend so we can see what the game feels like without tons of broken shotguns in the game. That would be nice. Then we have the movement. I think the movement needs to be a little bit smoother. There's nothing else they need to add to it. Just make it smoother. That's the main thing. The other thing is the HUD elements. I feel like the HUD elements should be allowed to be rearranged. That's the first thing, because having a minimap in the bottom left corner of your screen is pretty strange to me. I don't know if that's just because I play a lot of Call of Duty now, but I just think in general you should be able to move this in every game. But I think they should do that. And then also when it comes to the menus of the settings menus, man, these need to be made simpler. There's about 10 different pages for controller settings that you just get confused. They need to simplify that somehow. Just make one controller settings page. I understand they've put a lot of effort into everything that you can tune, so I don't want them to take away the kind of fine-tuning aspect of it. Maybe make like a simple mode where you can have beginners come in and just change a couple of settings and then get into the game, and then they have like a advanced mode where you open up all the tabs and you can go through it and fine-tune everything. I like the settings that they have in the game. I don't want them to take out anything. It's just make it simpler to understand on the main page, because I think it was a bit confusing, especially to new players or players coming from other games. It's one of the more complicated settings menus I've seen in a while, and I play a lot of games, so I'd imagine how someone that comes from a different game will not be used to this. But like I said, that's one thing I do want to mention. I think is super important. And also, just off the back of settings, actually, just make the base settings like something people can actually use. When I first launched into Battlefield 6, the kind of gunplay and stuff felt really, really strange. And that's because the settings were all over the place. And that is just loading straight into a game. They need to have some kind of baseline good settings. And people were talking about the fact that is due to the aspect ratios of screens and the kind of coefficient setting and things like that, which I think is just absolutely absurd, man. They should know 90% of players are playing on a 16:9 monitor by now. And if they don't know that, then I don't know what year we're living in. So they do need to kind of sort that out for the base settings, just to make it simpler for newer players to join in and play, right? I think that's an important thing I do want to mention. So that's my thoughts on the Battlefield beta, and I think overall it's positive, man. This game can be really, really successful if they do everything kind of at least 90% correct, right? They're never going to be 100% in terms of a launch of a game where they get everything right all the time. So at least if they hit 90% of the stuff here and they fix what they need to fix, the base of this game is really good and it's set up to be a success, like I said. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Battlefield content, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will be making more content on the second half of the beta, and then also when the full game drops as well, because I'm super excited to play this game and go through all the content. We'll be making weapon guides, we'll be going over vehicle guides, we'll be going over the works. Thank you very much for watching.